Morning, everyone. Welcome to Elizabeth, to Aileen, to John. Hi there. Kathy. Good morning. We are so glad you are here this morning on the verge of the solstice. We welcome you. Come in and get settled. Find something warm for your feet. I want a reminder about our luminarias.
Oh, we should make some of those.
Make some of them and you can drop them off right near the front porch, I believe, of the sanctuary building.
Do we have any extra bags if nobody has a bag? If I don't have any bags?
Yes. Teresa, who's part of our Chancel Guild, says there are bags there so you can run over and grab a few. I made one with a Taco Bell bag, so you guys are going to enjoy that. And a reminder to everyone that we will have worship on Christmas Eve, right there, 5 o'clock. Afterwards, we're all going to head over to 419 San Juan Drive and look at our beautiful luminarias.
So I can drive by the luminarias.
Hi, Jim. Jim.
Hey, Dennis.
I'm going to mute everybody here.
Hi, Bob.
Hey, Lynn. Hey.
The words calling us to worship this morning come from Sherry Woodbury. Out of the din of the city,
away from the noise of the crowds, we come.
To rest in this moment.
In this place.
Set apart from the never-ending to-do lists.
Embracing the seventh day, a day of rest.
We come to the warmth and stillness
of this sacred hour.
Remember, you have chosen to be here now. Something in your life led you to arrive here now.
Whatever tasks or cares you await you, now for this brief time, simply rest.
Allow your soul to be nurtured. Let the waves in your mind and heart gradually subside.
As you come home to yourself, holy and whole.
Come, let us worship together. We acknowledge that the land we gather on as a congregation, where we live, work, and play, was not freely given to us. We are gathered on the ancestral land of the Nuchu, Apache, Pueblos, Hopi, Zuni, and Diné Nation. This was also a site of trade, gathering, and healing for other native tribes. We recognize the indigenous peoples as original stewards of this land. As these words are spoken and heard, the ties nations have to their ancestral homelands are renewed and reaffirmed. We acknowledge that our use of and benefit from this land came at a dire cost to native nations and people whose land we now inhabit. I am Katie Kandarian Morris, the minister of the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Durango. I'm so grateful to be creating community with you today, a congregation of beautiful, caring, and justice-striving people. In this difficult year especially, it is a balm simply being together, responding to the world's brokenness with hope and our liberal religious values. Unitarian Universalists have radical roots and a history as self-motivated spiritual people. We think for ourselves and recognize that life experience influences our beliefs more than anything. We gather in the spirit of covenant. If you are new to this fellowship or to our Zoom worship, we welcome you. Please send a message to the chat. Just let us know you're new, and our communications coordinator, Shannon Beaver, will reach out to you to greet you personally. We'd love to add you to our e-newsletter list. Please stay after worship for our informal small group virtual coffee hour. Leading our service with me today is our worship team. First of all, our pulpit guest, who is Mary Oken, will offer our homily today and lead our prayer and meditation time. Cheryl Guy is our worship associate, and Sarah Sauter is our interim director of faith formation, and Shannon Beaver and Cheryl are greeters. John Schiffel and Dennis McClure are tech associates today. And our musicians include our wonderful virtual tone choir led by Elizabeth Crawford. It's going to be beautiful music. I've got my homemade guest at your table box. I've been sharing that every week, but simply as a reminder, you don't have to make one of these if you don't want to. I just thought it was fun. I needed a Christmas craft, but it's a reminder to me that all month that you can give to the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee. The guest at your table is a project of the UUSC. And if you go right to their website, you can click on there and give there, or send a check to UUFD with the UUSC in the memo line. But the UUSC, the service committee, is constantly and continually making and creating and continuing effective partnerships in justice work. One more thing, we are creating an opportunity to share a meal with our single members. If you are preparing a meal for 2 or 4 and you have extra, this is for Christmas Day, if you have extra to make a plate for one more person, if you could please email Allison Anderson. And if you don't have her email or don't have a way to find that, just send me an email and I'll send you to her. Today is the last day to sign up for that. If you would like to deliver a meal, I think we only need a couple more people to do that, but we will match folks up so that you wouldn't have to drive too far. If you're going to deliver a meal to someone, it would be a nice thing to do. Also, it's tough. We can't be together physically on Christmas Eve, so we've come up with a way for your creativity to shine. On the church website are instructions on how to make unique luminarias. You can deliver them to the church before the 23rd. I think that's Wednesday or something like that. Yes, that's Wednesday. There should be a box in front of the church where you can pick up some bags. I also heard Kathy Devine say she has a couple extra that you might have. So you can decorate those and then drop them put them in the box. Or if you don't feel like making a craft, just come by on Christmas Eve after worship and see them standing all together and admire the beauty. You can wave to folks from the safety of your car, and we can share our love with each other. As we worship, defined as shaping things of worth, we create community, offering opportunities for transformation. Let us be reminded of the many ways that that may happen. And I will light our chalice for us this morning and invite you to open your microphone as you feel comfortable. If the noise is too much for you with everybody's microphone open, just shut your volume off and you can recite the words of affirmation, our congregational covenant, at home. Won't you join me? Love is
the doctrine of this church.
Is
This sacrament. Service
to dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve human need, high purposes to unite in worship.
I'm going to recommend that you go up to that little button on the right-hand side and change your view to gallery view. If you change your view to gallery view, you can see everyone and now offer a greeting of peace and welcome, a sign of hospitality to each other.
Hey, everybody.
Happy morning.
Merry Christmas.
Hey, Don. It's just you.
Sarah.
Bonnie.
Yes.
Hey, Bert.
Robert.
Hey, Dell.
Hey.
That was lovely. And I'm noticing lots of personal decoration this morning. So you also might want to scroll through all your little boxes there and look at everyone's beautiful decor, either in their setting or on their head. And we share our joys and sorrows in a ritual of candle lighting in community. If you are so moved, I invite you to offer your joy or sorrow of a personal nature, and I will light a candle for you. Type your name in the chat so we can identify you. Also, if you will suspend any other chat conversation right now so that we can see just the names of folks who would like to have a candle lit.
Our first sharing today is Dee Dee, DDC.
Yeah, hi, I have a couple of joys for virtual performances. One of them, Lisa Govro, was in with the Merely Players, and it was a group reading of The Night Before Christmas that was quite entertaining. And secondly is Christmas music by the Bardi Wranglers that a good friend of mine helped to film and do the lighting for, and we watched that last night as well, and it was really fun.
And we light this candle.
Lisa G.
I have a joy. It's Steve's birthday today. It was my birthday yesterday, and our kids made us calzones, and we just had so much fun, and I just feel so much optimism going into 2021.
We light this candle.
Dennis A.
I have a sorrow. My brother passed away last Sunday very peacefully in his sleep. He was 4 years older than me. I'm very saddened.
We
His
light,
name is Bob Aronson.
we light this candle.
Margaret.
I have a joy. We had Vanessa, Cody, Aria, and all 4 children here for 3 days from Oklahoma, and it was a delightful time, busy and wonderful.
We light this candle.
Sue E. Sue, and unmic yourself or open your microphone. I'll come back.
Our son Johnny, who's a respiratory therapist working in Washington, D.C. at GW, got his vaccination on Monday. So we are so happy. And he'll get his second one January 5th.
So we light this candle.
Thanks.
And I am looking to see, I don't see anybody else's at the moment. Does anybody else have something like they'd like to share? Oh, here we go. Sophia.
I have like a kind of like a sorrow joy. So my dog kind of stopped eating and drinking, but then she started eating and drinking again. So we're happy.
We light this candle.
Karsten.
I'd like to light a candle of appreciation and thanks for all the thoughts and prayers that went out for my mother, Sonia, who passed away recently. She was a kind and gentle person. The saddest part of it for me was with this virus lockdown of her nursing facility. She was alone for most of the year and also died alone. It was heartbreaking to see the last moments when she was alive on a computer screen. And, you know, I take comfort in knowing she's probably going to a better place, and may her soul rest in peace.
We light this candle.
Julie A.
Hi, I finally got all the results back from my neuropsychological assessment of my brain injury, and it appears I have some very significant cognitive damage to my brain, and it's really affected my self-perception. So that's all.
We light this candle.
Diana S.
Hi, I have a joy, actually a couple. Yesterday evening, a team completed the, I don't know what you'd call it. I'm calling it a 100-year haircut on the 60 acres of woodlot on my place, and dropped about 50 trees and cleaned up acres and acres and acres of brush. And this is done for forest health and prevention of crown fires. But it was wonderful for me to be in the woods, tromping through the woods for the bigger part of the day and feeling a real sense of completion, getting this monkey off my back, wanting to do it. And also a sense of release, completion and release and joy.
And we light this candle.
I'd also like to add that tomorrow is the anniversary of my brother's death, and an accidental death. And he, I feel like a sense of completion and release from the grief in that as well, because he died on the solstice. Thank you.
We light this candle.
Elizabeth L.
I have a sorrow. My good friend and social science dean at Rice died untimely in her sleep on Sunday night. So thoughts go out to her husband, Jerry.
We light this candle.
Judith.
Yeah, I have a joy and a sorrow. My uncle, today is the 3rd anniversary of his death. My aunt and uncle were so close. They're married 60 years, and I love her. She's like a second mother to me. But another sorrow, because she had COVID. I just found this out. She had COVID and she's recovering. So that's the joy. But I just have a lot of prayers and thoughts of her, because she's going through a lot, losing her husband's anniversary. This is the anniversary of that. And then her daughter, her only daughter, she lost a month later. So it's just a hard time for her. And so I asked for some thoughts for her.
We light this candle.
Carolyn M.
Hi. Tomorrow is the first birthday of our grandson, Harris George Bass, in Austin, Texas. And we wish we could be with him, but
It's Christmas time.
I'd like to
We light
hold
this
him.
candle. And so finally, we acknowledge that there are silent prayers, some things too vulnerable to share, some things too tender, and some things that we are simply not ready. So let us light this candle and acknowledge all of these lit today for all of these joys and sorrows, and we will keep them in our thoughts and prayers as we go about our week. And now it is the fourth Sunday of Advent. And on the first Sunday of Advent, we lit a candle for hope. I'm going to go ahead and light that now. And the second Sunday, we lit a candle for peace on earth. The third Sunday, the third week of Advent, we lit a candle for love. Well, this is the fourth week, it takes longer. Our fourth week, we light a candle of joy. Joy not just for any simple cheer, but the experience of joy that cannot be contained. Advent asks us to proclaim our gladness as a gift to the world, even when sorrow and uncertainty abound. May we share our hearts through our words, our music, and the way we live our lives. Let the fullness of our joy lead to more freedom.
Author Sharon Blackie recently posted an image of a bare tree silhouetted against a cold winter's dawn. Along with that, she learned from this tree, and I invite you into a quiet, reflective time with her words in this winter meditation. So here she is, my soulmate, the Entwife, the old lady tree, in all her pared back winter glory, presiding over a frosty dawn valley, accompanied by the waning moon. This is how I first saw her, at the top of one of our fields. She is a rowan, though you never would have known it then. More hole than tree, though you can't see the holes from this angle. And I thought she was more dead than alive. Now, the memory of her green summer skirts and bright autumn berries give me hope. We all have our winter times. We're supposed to. The difficult and dark days, the fallow periods, the times between stories, when disillusion seems inevitable and death feels all too possible. We're built for those cycles and seasons, though. It's part of this embodied life. The trick is not to fight them, to become like other plants and animals who inhabit this beautiful, animate earth alongside us, to grow our wintering coats, to commit whatever remarkable acts of metamorphosis we need to get through. This is a time to allow ourselves, like my beautiful Entwife, to be stripped down to the bare bones, and to marvel at the simple, stark beauty which might be revealed. May we enter into silence for just a moment. May it be so. Blessed be.
There will be rest and sure stars shining over the rooftops crowned with snow. A rain of rest, a rain forgetting, music of stillness, holy and low. Stars watch how far I will make this world my devising. Stars watch how far out of a dream will my lonely mind. Stars watch how far I shall find the crystal of peace above me. Stars I shall find. There will be rest and sure stars shining over the rooftops round with snow. A rain of rest, serene forgettings, music of stillness, music of stillness, music of stillness, holy and low. Stars watch how far I will make this world my devising. Stars watch how far out of a dream in my lonely mind. Stars watch how far I shall find the crystal of peace above me. Stars I shall find. There will be rest,
Thank you so much. So beautiful, virtual tones. This morning's story precedes our anti-racism lesson for elementary children. Something happened in our town focuses on racial violence and begins our kids' exploration of stereotype. Something Happened in Our Town is by 3 PhDs, Marianne Celbrano, Marietta Coleman, Ann Hazard, and is illustrated by Jennifer Vivian. Something bad happened in our town. The news was on the TV, the radio, and the internet. The grown-ups didn't think the kids knew about it, but the kids in Miss Garcia's class heard some older kids talking about it, and they had questions. After school, Emma asked her mother, "Why did the police shoot that man?" "It was a mistake," said her mother. "I feel sad for the man and his family." "Yes, the police thought he had a gun," said her father. "It wasn't a mistake," said her sister Liz. "The cops shot him because he was Black." Emma was confused. "He is brown, not Black," she said. "Some Black people have dark brown skin and some have light brown skin," Emma's father explained. "Black usually means African American. Most of their ancestors were brought here from Africa as slaves." "I know what a slave is. That's when you have to do whatever the other person says." Yes, slaves had to do whatever white people told them to do. Even after slavery ended, white people didn't let Black people live where they wanted, go to school with white people, or vote. Who are white people?
White people came here from places in Europe or Russia or other countries. We are white, even though our skin is light tan. Did our family do those bad things a long time ago? Asked Emma. Yes, answered her mother. Back then, many white people thought that they were better than Black people, even though it wasn't true. Liz added, some white people still think most Black men and boys are dangerous, even though they're not. Was that man that got shot dangerous? Asked Emma. No, her mother said, shooting him was a mistake. It was a mistake that is part of a pattern. Like the pattern on my blanket? Emma asked. Yes, but this pattern is being nice to white people and mean to Black people. It's an unfair pattern. Suppose you had a birthday party and invited everyone in your class except the Black kids, her mother said. How would the Black kids feel? They would be sad, Emma said, or mad. And you would be missing out because you never know who is going to be your best friend, said Liz. And you can help others to be fair, said her mother. Like telling Anna to stop teasing Ling about her name, asked Emma. Her mother gave her a hug. Yes, just like that. In another house, Josh asked his mother, can police go to jail? Yes, said his mother. Why do you ask? That white policeman who shot the Black man, said Josh. Will he go to jail? What he did was wrong, said his mother. But he won't go to jail, said his father. Why not? Asked Josh. Cops stick up for each other, said Josh's brother Malcolm, and they don't like Black men. Josh was confused. Why not? Some police are Black. You're right, said his mother. Uncle James is a police officer, and so is my friend Kenya. There are many cops, Black and white, who make good choices, said his father, but we can't always count on them to do what's right. Malcolm added, I could get stopped by the police just because I'm Black, even if I don't do anything wrong. That's not fair, Josh said. What if it was a white man in the car? Would the police have shot him? They probably wouldn't even have stopped the car, said his father. Sometimes white people are treated better than Black people, said his mother. But it's not right. Everyone should be treated fairly. Josh's mother gave him a hug. We are proud of who we are. Harriet Tubman, Martin Luther King Jr., Nelson Mandela were strong and brave Black leaders. They showed us that we can stand up for our rights and set good examples for others. They were treated fairly, but helped others learn to be more fair. Some people haven't heard yet, said his father angrily. Why are you mad? Asked Josh. I'm mad that we're still treated poorly sometimes, but I can use my anger to make things better, said his father. Black people have a lot of power if we work together to make changes. I have power, Josh said, and I'm smart. His father smiled. You're right. His mother added, and you can change people's hearts by sticking up for someone who is not treated fairly. Like how Malcolm sticks up for me when the kids tease me about my glasses, Josh asks. He tells them to step off, just like that, as his parents said. The next day, a new kid joined Emma and Josh's class. His name was Ahmad, and he was from a country far away. Ahmad didn't know where to sit or what to do because it was his first day of school. He talked a little bit, but it was hard to understand him. He said he was learning English. After lunch, the class went outside to play soccer. Daniel and Sophia picked kids to be on their teams. All of the kids were picked on a team except Ahmad. Daniel said Ahmad probably didn't know how to play because he was new. Sophia said Ahmad might not be a good soccer player. Josh remembered what his mother had said about sticking up for people who were treated unfairly. Emma remembered what her mother said about unfair patterns and birthday parties. All of a sudden, Ahmad wasn't alone. Emma and Josh were leading him to their team. We have enough kids on our team, Daniel said. We don't need him. But Josh was ready. Step off, he said. He's playing. Yeah, said Emma. We don't want to miss out. And just like that, Emma and Josh gained a new friend and started a better pattern in their school. Kids, join me by clicking on the link in your chat and we'll talk about stereotypes. See you there.
For many of us, 2020 has been a most challenging year. With COVID-19 isolation separating us from family and friends, with businesses struggling to survive and many people laid off, with racial tensions, and to top it off, we had a particularly divisive election and a president trying to subvert the peaceful transfer of power for the first time in history. It's all been a bit wearing, and like many, I'm tired. I'm just tired, longing to simply rest. Now, the northern hemisphere of our planet has tilted as far away as it will from the sun, such that we are in the darkest days of winter. Solstice. As Sharon Blackie says, we all have our winter times. Time magazine calls this the COVID winter, citing that the hardest months of this pandemic are yet to come. And sadly, they're probably right. While coming vaccines offer a sense of renewed hope, there will still be challenging days ahead. We miss seeing friends on Noel night, and we won't even have Snowdown 2021 to alleviate the cabin fever and the snowy days. This winter solstice is like no other. When we might otherwise be out celebrating in reverie with family and friends, we instead may find ourselves buttoned up in our homes, some of us caring for those who have fallen ill, others of us grieving those we have lost. Or we may be anxious about what may yet come. Acknowledging our humanity, psychotherapist Dorothy Wallace says, harsh realities can obliterate the sense of wonder and delight. Fear can creep in and drag you down into a well of negativity. Life is imperfect. There is grief, loss, illness. And it's especially discouraging when you feel hopeless and powerless to do anything about it. What can pull you out of the abyss? You start with one small moment of acceptance. Perhaps these quiet months of winter can help us find greater acceptance and offer an ideal time for deeper reflection, a respite of sorts. According to Merriam-Webster, respite means an interval of rest or relief. Respite traces from the Latin term respectus, which comes from a verb meaning to turn around, to look at, or regard. Similarly, we may hold Sabbath, a day of rest, reflection, and prayer. Often, life's difficult moments require a soulful reflection space for adequate processing. Soulcraft author Bill Plotkin says the soul is like a timid wild animal, shy, waiting for a moment it can trust. The soul awaits our quiet invitation, waiting for a moment when we can hold a solid block of time, allowing enough quiet so that our soul might enter into dialogue and trust it will be heard. The soul not only wants us to hear, but it also wants us to act, to be the change we wish to see, as Gandhi so eloquently phrased. In these darker, challenging months, we might ask Spirit, God, or our higher self, what do you want of me? What will you have me do? Often during trying times, we need to consciously work to steer our disposition toward a more positive attitude, overcoming our evolutionary propensity to pay attention to negativity. It helps to foster mindful attention and intention to reach for the light. Might intentional strengthening of our memories of a hug from loved ones bring us hope of holding them again? Might initial distribution of a vaccine be a dawning light on the horizon to remind us there is an eventual end to this dark tunnel? Meanwhile, to practice positive self-care as well as compassion and kindness toward ourselves and others, we might brighten all our days. It literally takes a village to get through a pandemic. Through these coming weeks, let's offer bits of light and life to one another to get through these dark times. We know that to act with kindness also benefits ourselves. Research clearly shows that offering kindness and kind-heartedness to others results in many more benefits for the giver, increasing our positive emotions and enhancing our health, contentment, and optimism. Kindness can be a simple act, maybe sending a thoughtful card or letter, sharing a conversation on a walk, maybe dropping off a special favorite book, or perhaps sending a bouquet of flowers. One recent November day, I thought to support a local restaurant for lunch. I decided to grab a quick salad and sit by the river to enjoy it. But then I thought of Kina, who runs a little bookstore near the river. So before ordering, I called her up and said, "Would you like to join me for an impromptu picnic lunch in her mini garden?" So I brought her a salad, and we both enjoyed a lovely connection. Later, she said she was so very grateful for that simple act. In another recent conversation with a client, whom I shall name Tony, he told me of his effort to help a friend move from Basalt to Salida. Because of this move, Tony's friend was able to find work at an area grocery store and is now making a decent living. But when Tony was helping with the move, there on the counter, he saw a loaded gun with a note, including a phone number of the friend's sister. Shocked, Tony removed the bullets and went on to help his friend move. Then, later, his friend told him, "You saved my life. You were the last person on my list to call, and you came and you helped. Thank you." We may never know how much that one act might turn around a life. How a troubled soul may pivot to a better place with the gentle light of kindness shown by a friend. Like a sure star, illuminating a chilly dark night, guiding one to a brighter future. Martin Luther King once said, "Only when it's dark enough can you see the stars." We can be like sure stars shining by consciously engaging in mutual caring, offering solace and respite, being a listening ear, and when possible, bringing warmth and light both to ourselves and to others. Like Saturn and Jupiter converging in our western skies this solstice, together may we create a deeper, brighter star shining down upon these darker days, like a holy star its vigil keeping, guiding us all on our way through these darkest days toward the hope of a warm, green summer once again. Amen, namaste, and blessed be.
Now, while our baskets sit empty at the sanctuary altar, there are still 3 ways you can give to sustain this community: by check, or on our website, or through texting. You can see how to do each of these by looking at the information that will be dropped into the chat line. The offering that we take each Sunday isn't a stale habit. It's an opportunity to recommit to this place and to these people. Our offering is an affirmation, a yes. When we give, we say yes to something we value. With our gifts freely given, may we say yes to the values of our faith. May our offering help us practice Unitarian Universalism within and beyond our congregation as tools to empower our mission, to build a home for liberal religion and spiritual growth, to provide lifespan religious education, and to work toward justice. Thank you for your many gifts.
Our closing song today is the carol, The First Noel. John Schiffel, when he was putting together the slides, he said, Noel, Nowell. And I said, well, that's the way they spell it in the Unitarian hymnal. And I looked it up, and it's the Old English spelling of Noel. We're often used to seeing the French spelling, Noel, but both words mean Christmas. So the words are going to be right on the slide with the choir as they lead us in singing The First Noel. Sing with us, please.
And as we extinguish the chalice, let us take to heart and into your week this short Sabbath poem by Wendell Berry. The seed is in the ground. Now may we rest in hope while darkness does its work.
Thank you, everyone, so much. Please join us in a breakout room, even if you can only stay for a few minutes. Come say hi to a few folks. We're so grateful you could be with us today. Thank you all.